See, hey, welcome to the pain clinic. Stopped that a little bit early. Cashman here, and I'm also being enjoined by my two co-hosts. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I know I cut the intro a little bit on it because I started a little bit late, but hey, welcome to the show, the pain clinic. I've got a few things I want to plug before we get into it. Welcome to the pain clinic for November 29th. I don't know, a couple of holidays today. Chia Pet Day. Yeah, we always celebrate that. Square Dance Day and Advent begins. That debate's very obviously. Birthdays today. Jerry Lawler, 76, as well as Dutch Mantel or Zeb Coulter, or whatever you remember him as. He's 76 as well. We've got JBL's 59 today. Happy birthday, JBL. Rosemary from TNA, 42 today. And Dana Brooke is 37. Happy birthday. Hey, interested in roller derby? You want to be a skater? Officiate Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com and join the Rock City Roller Derby. Welcome to the show today. I'm your humble host of Cashman, obviously a little under the weather. I don't know if you can tell or not. Maybe my voice has a little bit more resonance in it, but I am joined by DC Dan Cole from NC. How's it going, DC?
You got those sultry tones going on this morning.
Yeah, big time, man. It's been that way the last couple of days, and we're also joined by Rob Sanderson. Rob, how's it going today?
Good. Hello. I'm not. Am I unmuted? I can't hear anything. But good
We can
morning.
hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning, Cashman.
There we go. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Hey, yes, I am. Yeah, here with the deep pipes today. I should get some voiceover jobs. Well, I've got these uh, apartment.
Do you do you
I
think
was just,
Dana Brooke woke up this morning and said, "I'm 37"? Not everybody will get the reference, but all the people really excited about the theme of the next ESW show would get it.
oh, gotcha. There you go. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. I definitely, it's interesting. Is Dana retired, I believe, and it's funny because I saw a piece of news in the week saying Dana's thinking about coming out of retirement. Wouldn't she retire like 2 months ago? It's like, what do you mean? I'm sure there's more to the story than that, but yeah, no. It's a happy birthday, Dana Brooke, and everybody else who was down the list. Jerry Lawler, including former guest on the show. Excuse me, Zeb Coulter, Dutch Mantel, historic guy in the world of pro wrestling as well. JBL, biggest bully on the block, or was at least. Maybe not so much anymore. But
Now he's kind of face turned. So
well, I mean, showing up at independent shows and stuff like that, and I mean, he was just in Buffalo with Ron Simmons. They were, obviously, uh, damn, doing their thing. Hey, I can do that. I can do damn. All right, so there's a deep pipes here, but yeah, welcome to the hey, Rod. You guys, I missed you guys last week. DC, happy belated birthday.
Thank
Uh,
you, thank you.
and Rob, I know you were well busy. Talk about your weekend, Rob, before we get into because we want to talk about some stuff, including Full Gear results this week, and obviously Survivor Series is tonight, War Games style. But how was last weekend? Friday you had ESW, Saturday you had 2CW. What was the mayhem like?
it was quite the weekend, especially unfortunately on crutches with this ankle that's still working on healing apparently. But both nights were awesome. The crowds. There was somebody who recently made a comment about independent wrestling on Twitter, and everybody in the indie wrestling community has pretty much taken that to respond and show pictures of big crowds and all sorts of stuff. And I mean, Riverworks was jam packed, and 2CW was sold out, standing room only, including trying to get people to continuously not stand in front of our commentary table in the back, so you could actually see the ring. But two nights of just a lot of fun. Obviously, ESW Wrestle Bash is the company's biggest show every year, and so there were a lot of crazy moments. A there was scheduled to be a three-way match for the heavyweight title, but Gregory Iron came out as a surprise. Who he had suffered a torn pec early, like the beginning of this year, and he's somebody he's such an awesome guy, but um has kind of battled through this wrestling career with cerebral palsy and doesn't have use of one of his arms, basically, essentially. It doesn't have full use with his hands and stuff, so it's a very difficult type of situation for him to wrestle. And he when he tore his pec and had to get surgery, that was the good side for him that was gone. So doctors have basically told him like that's it for your wrestling and everything. And he came out to ESW in March and very tearfully and stuff, just kind of pretty much said goodbye to wrestling and had the surgery, went through all that, the rehab, and then his music hit last Friday, and he came out and grabbed the DePaulo Cup, which he won at WrestleBash again last year for a second year in a row, which is essentially like a Money in the Bank type thing. Cashed it in to join the match. They started the match as a fatal four way, and he became the new heavyweight champion. So, very shocking night with that, which was a lot of fun and great to see him back and see him as the top guy. Well deserved. Obviously, somebody that I've worked with quite a bit there and in 2CW and other places. So a lot of respect for that. Mike Santana, Joshua Bishop was the main event. They tore each other apart, as hard hitting as it gets. Teddy Long made an 8-man tag team match, which was great. It was a lot of fun. And then 2CW the next night up in Watertown. I don't know. It's 10 years since the company closed. I know you guys were there 10 years ago at that last show. And um, it's hard to explain, but like that company, like those shows, like there's always just magic in the air. As cheesy as that sound, as cliche as that sounds, like there's always just this different energy at the 2CW shows than I felt really anywhere else. I mean, I've been lucky enough to work for a bunch of top indies and places that have great fan bases and stuff like that, but 2CW just it was truly like stepping back in time. The crowd was so loud, so into everything. Every match just delivered. It was a ton of fun. That's something that we'll have out soon. I don't know the exact date on YouTube for people to watch for free, and just had an absolute blast calling it with Colin Delaney. I know I did like a secondary recording of the commentary audio just as an extra backup to be safe, and I clicked through a couple points and I heard like things that he said to me that I didn't hear live because it was so loud in there. And there are things that like are popping me now when I hear them that are just hilarious. So I look forward to watching that back. But um, Mike Santana and Mike Skyros were the main event there, and just an awesome match, a great moment for Mike Skyros, kid out of Syracuse who went to school in Buffalo, has been around to the indie scene for quite a while, had like a 1 day title reign with 2CW back in the day, had a gimmick in some places, including Pier 6, that he doesn't even want to remember. And he's just been killing it to the point where, Santana didn't just like shake his hand afterwards. He got on the mic for minutes. It was the most like heartfelt, like putting him over, motivational, like respectful kind of speech. It was a great way to end the night. And the Godfather came in looking like he was 25 years old again, sending Ben Hameen out of the ring and doing his quotes and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. Once again, of course, we've heard this is really it. This is really the last time. And I believe that less now than I did after the last time around.
Sure.
So we'll see. I know Amanda Huber has put up there's some tweets this week about
Yeah, Brody. Yeah.
Brody Jr. will turn 18 in January of 2030. Obviously, he was involved in the last 2CW reunion show. His first indie appearance, and now he's training, and that would be such a cool moment. But that was about 4 years ago. We did reunion shows the first time around, and January 2030 is shockingly only about 4 more years around the corner. So, who knows? I don't know. If that was it, it was great to be there again and see everybody and just experience that feeling once again. But great weekend of wrestling. I mean, I knew it was going to be a crazy, crazy weekend with, one company that I consistently work for is biggest show of the year, and then the reunion of. I don't. I hate to say stuff like this and make other companies feel different, but like probably the favorite wrestling company I've ever worked for in
Sure.
2CW. That's not a shot at anybody else. I certainly appreciate the others as well, but that was it's crazy, tiring, fun weekend. Luckily, the weather was perfect for that loop, and yeah, it's I'm still catching up from the sleep schedule and all that stuff, and we're right, immediately into getting everything together for the January ESW show. Luckily, I have not had to open up Photoshop and things like that for a next 2CW show, but we'll see if that happens again someday.
Sure. Should you get a chance to talk to Mike Santana at all?
Um, very, very briefly. Not too much. But I didn't, I didn't actually see him at all in Buffalo. Um, by the time I got there and we were getting things set up and tested and everything, and then he and I arrived at basically the same time at the venue in Watertown. So heading in there, and then it was pretty much straight to huge meet and greet lines. And that was the thing too. Like 2CW that first night had that Hardy party
Yeah.
with Matt and Jeff, which was their biggest one that they've done yet. And
Let
they've
me
been
ask you, what's a Hardy party? Are there matches going on during that? I was trying to figure that
nope.
one out. No, it was so just
So yeah, it's not a wrestling show. It's just an event basically. So no need for the good old New York State Athletic Commission that night. But there was a stage set up where the ring was the next night. And so doors opened at like 5:30. They started a meet, greet, and delete line, which was wrapped around the building like more than once. Like the line had like over 700 people in it, which is just crazy. Um, and so they did the meet and greet. Um, I believe from what I heard, again, I was at ESW that night, but they finished the meet and greet line and then started the show like a little late as opposed to the original plan where they were going to go back to a meet and greet afterwards. But Matt went up and did about an hour of a live podcast. I forget, it was mostly based on the story of when he and Jeff went back to the WWE, that Orlando Mania with when they were kind of that surprise team that the New Day brought out. So he kind of told that story as most of it. And then Jeff went up and he had like a guitarist with him and did an acoustic set for an hour. Um, and stuff like that. And but the every clip I've seen, like the crowd was super into the whole thing. And I'm just so impressed. We were talking about that like after the fact. Like the Hardys have been around for so long. Obviously, on this show 25 plus years ago, we always used to joke even about how big of a Hardy Boys fan I was and stuff, and how much they've contributed to tag team wrestling. But they've been around for so long, they're still doing things at a high level and so involved in these top companies and stuff now. But it's amazing to me to see how many people are still. They did 3 Hardy parties last weekend. They did a Friday, Saturday, Sunday loop.
I saw they were down in
Watertown,
Jersey for one of them, right? Was it Jersey?
I think it
Or
was
Providence or Rhode Island. That's what it was.
first night was Watertown, second night was Brooklyn, maybe, and then third night might have been Jersey or somewhere in PA. I don't know, something around there. But like 3 nights in a row, and like they do these meet and greets apparently like after like most TNA events at this point, and they're always the most ridiculous lines. Like what's crazy to me is that all these years later, they still draw these gigantic crowds to meet them when there have been honestly so many chances to meet them over the decades. That I think with a lot of wrestlers and stuff, it'd be like, oh, I've already met him, whatever. I've met them. That's fine. Like they constantly, like it's not that at all. Like they draw everywhere they go. Everybody says they're like the best to interact with of any wrestlers they've met and stuff. So a lot of respect to that. Obviously, very fortunate to have gotten to work a lot with Matt Hardy and 2CW. and I've met Jeff a couple times before. He hasn't wrestled there, but I know he made a comment afterwards about wanting to wrestle one of those shows. So who knows what's in store in the future? But I've already started to make all the jokes to Josh about the next show and
Yeah.
wording it like it's happening, like it's a thing. Like I was like, when do you want to put out the first match graphic for the next show and all this stuff? So we'll see what happens.
Oh, I do want to mention that Jeff Hardy did him and Joe Hendry actually had a music segment on TNA this past week where they did a I can't remember the song they did. I think it was Stone Temple Pilots or something. I can't remember.
I
But
didn't see it, but I saw something that said that it was, I think it was Jeff's Modest song,
oh,
whatever
was
his
it
TNA
Creed?
theme was. Or
Oh, yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
I think his own song, but
Okay.
not like not the writing on the wall one, but that Modest to the top or whatever. That's what I heard. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was more than one song,
But,
but
but
uh,
you know, we just know that Joe Henry won't be there if he does come back, you know, because and play some music or whatever. But yeah, you mentioned that because it's like he must have been warming up because I think those were taped at Full Sail the week before, and so he was all ready to go and perform. It's just very cool. That sounds like an awesome time, and obviously it was an awesome show. You know, I mean, you know, Mike Santana, Moose, all these guys were there. I saw so many great pictures came out of it. Man, there was a looks like a blast.
yeah, I mean, I thinking about the show. I mean, there were so many great moments. Just to mention two quickly, the opening match was Rich Swann and Don Freeze, and I know I mentioned Don Freeze a couple of weeks ago. That's this kid out of Syracuse who's still fairly new. A lot of his training has come from Cheeseburger of Ring of Honor fame and stuff, and he's not the tallest, but he's a bigger boy. But the way he moves around the ring is like an Olympic gymnast. It's unreal. Like every few seconds, it's just like it makes you speechless on commentary. So him and Rich Swann had a banger of an opening match. I will highly recommend that as soon as that broadcast is out. And then the Rascals and the High Seas tag team match, as expected, just totally delivered. But there was a lot of fun in that. There was a spot where things went into slow motion for a bit, which is fun when that rarely happens in wrestling. And Colin turns to me, he's like, "I think we've been through something like this before, or whatever." And like it's a reference to when we had the pleasure of calling that famous Orange Cassidy Gentleman Jervis match in Texas years ago that continues to get millions of views every year, forever. But fun when I had no idea they were doing that, but
Oh,
it was
it was actually slow motion. Then it wasn't like you were seeing it in slow motion.
yeah, no,
It was-
basically, so the Rascals, obviously, they come from the tree house and they enjoy their trees and stuff. And so uh I think initially at one point, like Trey Miguel meant to blow some smoke into the face of Captain Nick Ando, who ducked, and it went into the face of the referee, who was then totally out of it.
oh, I see.
And then it just
Slow
turned
motion.
into
Yeah.
this whole like couple minutes of the very slow motion stuff, and which of course then caused us to do slow motion commentary and stuff, and it was just it was fun time. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. It sounds like I love innovation. So, you know, I mean, that's definitely pretty cool. Some people, I mean, obviously old school probably hates something like that, but oh well. You know what? They're old school. They're dying out.
That's the thing. I mean, that show is a perfect example of wrestling being a mix of everything for everybody. Not everybody's expected to like every match or every spot or anything like that, but I mean, there was some fresh new talent that tore it up. There was the high flying stuff, there was the silly stuff, the really hard hitting stuff, and kind of whatever, not singing or whatever, but doing the whole shindig along with the Godfather, which brings me back to 99 and stuff. It's time once again, and 26 years later, whatever, it was time once again. And the train came into Watertown, and it was a good time. It was a really fun time.
Awesome. That sounds like sounds like you had a great weekend. And it was obviously something that most of us miss. So we lived it through you vicariously. So cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it'll be well worth the. I'll definitely share the details of the broadcast when that's out, because that was the thing too. I mean, a lot of people just couldn't get tickets to it and stuff too. It's that's not the biggest venue, but still fit a lot of people in there. But a lot of people that couldn't get tickets to it. So, in a way, I don't know. It's one of those situations. It's very difficult to live stream in there and stuff too. So we decided that was going to be a live to tape recording, and kind of almost like it better that way now that so many people get to see it at the same time. I'll kind of get to watch it live back and just enjoy it. So
excellent. Cool. Awesome. Can't wait to see it. All right. Let's talk about some stuff. Did you get a chance to see Full Gear at all from last weekend?
I did. I listened to. What's crazy is I put it on audio wise in the car driving back from Watertown. And of course, this is after a 2CW show, which is notoriously not long. It wasn't a long show, but it actually started pretty close to on time, which is weird. That didn't feel like authentic 2CW. It should have been like 40 minutes late or something. But I got in the car, I started driving back. I almost made it home. Had I not stopped at an Arby's in Pulaski with a weird, like, I don't know, whatever it was, like, I think I would have made it home before Full Gear was over. From working a 2CW show in Watertown to Rochester, that's how long those freaking shows are. So I listened to some of it, and then like a day or two later, like I did watch it all. So
at least you weren't listening to the Bellas theme or anything, so you're good.
That's very true. It'll probably be in my head now, though.
No, sorry about that. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that happened from that pay-per-view. Obviously, we have a new champion, a new heavyweight champion. I'm trying to think of some other things that stuck out. A big turn by Hook. What did you think of them? I mean, this is like what, the second pay-per-view that Hangman had defended the belt and he loses it. What are your thoughts on that? On Full Gear. I mean, I know we're jumping right to the end to look at it, but what'd you think, DC? What'd you think too? What'd you think of Hangman? I mean, defending it once in a pay-per-view and then coming back and losing it. Especially, I assumed last week when we were talking about it that because it was in a cage, there'd be nobody interfering, and that was the reason why once again it'd be an easier win for Hangman. But completely wrong on that prediction. What'd you think, DC?
He had two defenses though, right? His first was against Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, was it? Okay. So, and it was on pay-per-view too?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was All Out in Toronto, and then Wrestle Dream against Joe.
Yeah. Okay. So he had two defenses. Still, it's two defenses, I mean.
I'm okay with it because I don't think this was about him having some long, lengthy title reign. I think it was all about the story of him completing his redemption arc, which he's done. And everybody knows that the fun is in the chase, especially when it's a face chasing a heel. I think having Joe have the title opens up more opportunities. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Joe's just a transitional champ to someone like Swerve.
That's a feeling you get after the end of the pay-per-view with Swerve coming out and obviously looking like $1 million as well. Rob, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it. And so for as much as I've talked about predictability and stuff on this show, I think that was refreshing. That something happened that I didn't expect. Obviously I have a ton of respect for Joe, a big fan of his, and I'm fine with him being a champion. I guess, like I feel like my favorite days, it's not always going to be this way, but my favorite days in AEW were, when people were on their first title reigns. Second time around just never isn't as special to me, especially when there's so many other people in the company that are ready, and other people that will be ready soon to be champ. I agree. I think it will be a very transitional type thing. I continue to hate on people holding more than one belt within the same company. like the Mercedes thing doesn't bother me because those are all belts from different companies and stuff, but the trios belts are so irrelevant at this point. This makes it even more so. And I don't know. I guess my problem is that it feels like, all right, it went back to Moxley, then it went back to Hangman, now it went back to Joe, and now it's probably going to go from Joe to what, Swerve again, like back to him and stuff. And it's like, I don't want to be in this repetitive, like, I mean, we're not anywhere close to like Cena and Orton or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I hope we're, I don't know. Maybe then it's Osprey that gets it from Swerve, and that feeling of freshness comes back. But and obviously I really like Swerve too, but I don't know. It's Joe is very over as a heel. And I agree that that's the type of person that it's good to have atop the company. And it's much a different type of heel than Moxley was. But we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it's not a long reign.
Okay, so we had a few things that went on during the pay-per-view as well. We had Mercedes Moné losing to Chris Statlander. So far, that's the one title Mercedes cannot get. Is
I thought she had creative control and won't lose to anybody, right?
There was no creative control. If she did, then she creatively chose to lose.
Mercedes Hogan,
no. So yeah, so she did lose to Chris Statlander. We also saw Kyle Fletcher dropped the title, the AEW TNT title, to Mark Briscoe. So does that bump Kyle Fletcher up? Now, maybe that's what I was thinking, is if he dropped that title, maybe he'll move up into maybe the heavyweight title reign area. But I'm just theorizing. There's nothing. I mean, we haven't seen anything yet since then that says he was.
We're comparing the title reigns of Hangman and Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher is the one I wanted to have a much longer reign.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but I'm also happy that it kind of like takes him away from the belt during the C2. Like I like the idea of people being in that tournament and battling for something, and not like, you can't really have your TNT champion losing matches in the Continental Classic, but still being TNT champion. I don't know, kind of waters things down a little bit, I guess. So it was a good reign, and obviously a lot of respect for Mark Briscoe, and I don't really expect him to have a very long reign either. But he's certainly earned that. I mean, he is an absolute workhorse in that company. So I don't think it took anything away from Fletcher at all. I'm sure there were a lot of people that wanted to see the gimmick of Briscoe in the Don Callis family, but I'm fine with the way things went there.
Yeah, you don't always have to have it go to that, which is fine. Kyle O'Reilly beating John Moxley by submission in a no holds barred match, which
basically
you mentioned a couple weeks ago, is that John Moxley is building Kyle O'Reilly, and that's kind of what really built him, I guess. Was a clean pin or a clean a defeat of Moxley on a pay-per-view. So clean.
Now the real question mark is, where do they go from here? I mean, you've made the decision to really build up Kyle O'Reilly, and I love to see that. Somebody who was absolutely not in the main event picture before, and now you've given him these big wins and stuff. They need to keep that going and not let that just disappear and have him fall back to goofy tag wrestler in the conglomeration again. I mean, they got to take advantage of what they've built there, and that I don't know if it'll happen or not. He's somebody I would have liked to have seen in the Continental Classic, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy about it. I'm all for a more serious Kyle O'Reilly at this point.
Oh, definitely, and so then we have Ricochet pinning Kevin Knight for that AEW National Championship, which I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of like
national champion, international champion, unified champion, continental champion, TNT champion. Would I be able to name all of the titles in AEW like that? I don't even know. There's so many. Like, pretty soon we'll have a state champion, a county champion, a regional champion, an East Coast champion, a West Coast champion. Like, stop. Like, it's too much. Like, maybe they'll make this title relevant. Cool, but that means you could have done that with other titles you already have, like this weirdness of the Continental belt being gone from Okada now, and so he switches back from wearing the unified belt to the international belt.
Because without the
So
Continental belt, he's not the unified champ.
right, so then there was all this talk of like, oh, the unified champion's going to be like the second world champion. No, because the only time people are actually going to wear that is if they have both. So unless Okada win, I don't know. I don't understand that at all. It's the same type of thing as how they like unify the trios and 6-man belts of AEW and Ring of Honor and then split them apart again. Like, hey, we're doing this great thing. We're combining. Oh no, haha, we we got you. We're separating them again. More titles, more belts for everybody.
Yeah. Speaking of
Way
belts,
too much.
so we had a lot of belts changing hands, or being, that was the only belt that was the first time, winner of it, the first winning it. So, but we also had FTR take the belts from Brian Brodito, sorry, and it was like interesting that what does Brodito do now? They were kind of like put together, sort of, and it's like did come out and cut a promo on Collision this week where they said that they wanted to stick together and keep doing it, but we'll see what happens with them. But FTR, was it 3 times now that they've been the AEW World Tag Team Champions?
Yep.
I think, yeah, 3 times. So
that's even more of the feeling to me of like, this, we've been here, we've done this.
And the countdown clock has started on Cope and Christian returning.
Cope and Christian as well, and they had who was it in the ring with them on Collision this past week?
Bang Bang Gang.
Yeah, the Bang Bang, or what do they call them? The guns, the Bang Guns. I don't remember what it was, but
Bang Bang Gang for those two.
Okay,
yeah, and I really like that tag team. And I mean, obviously, like that group has had some trio success, and Austin and Colton Gunn held the tag titles before. But I like that pairing, and it seems the crowd really does as well.
It's amazing because they were heels the last time they wrestled, like a week ago, and then they come out and they heel out on the heels, and now they're cheered. But there's nothing wrong with that.
If you have the little sing along aspects of your character, even if you're heel, you're kind of a baby face.
Yeah, okay.
The fans still like to join in and that kind of stuff. So
they love the spinning open, where they're like looking up and they're going around them and stuff, like
this cardboard Jay White though.
They did. It was nice that they shouted out to him, and they said, which was awesome. It was, but yeah, they do the.
Would love for him to be one of these next world champions too, but obviously he's got to get back first.
Yeah, he's definitely got to get back.
So Dave Austin only like sometimes a honorary member of the Bang Bang Gang.
That's a good question.
Good question.
Yeah, he doesn't come out when they come out. He kind of stops at the top of the ramp and then goes back.
He's only had like 2 matches so far there, I think. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I mean, they gave him a good build up, so he'll get inserted eventually. And we started the pay-per-view off, not including the 4 matches on the pre-show, but with Pac beating Darby Allin. So you had a lot of faces losing on the pay-per-view. I mean, Darby Allin's the pillar, right? And he loses to Pac. Now Pac looks great. I mean, man, he's just like, I don't know, spending way too much time in the gym.
Somebody put it on Twitter the other day that it looks like Pac had eaten Pac, and now he's like double Pac. He's the big Pac. Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah, I mean, Pac got a really great push in WWE before he came to AEW, and he just had injury issues, and he's had injury issues coming back to AEW. So I hope this new muscular, gigantic Pac sticks around a bit longer, maybe gets, is more influential in like what happens, and maybe gets a title or something. But, overall, it was a great pay-per-view. Everyone has, hands up saying it was a solid pay-per-view from beginning to end. A lot of drama, Hook turning on Hangman Adam Page, and which leads to Samoa Joe winning the title. I don't know. And then, the whole Hook starting the pay-per-view, being a partner on the pre-show with Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston, now they're playing up Kingston's relationship with Hook now. And, he's not going to make any comments about Hook. He's still good boy. He's good friends with him and stuff or whatever. But then he also challenged Joe on Collision this past week for Winter is Coming. So, I mean, I don't know where that goes,
I
but
am oddly looking forward to that match, though.
it's kind of like gone in a different direction, I mean, they kind of like took like a right turn on a lot of things. I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, I like freshening things up and changing up the who's taking on who, because there's only so many people in every company as it is, so you can only. But I don't have a problem with that. What do you think, Rob? I mean, at the end of the night, is that a good pay-per-view? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I put it back into that same category of pay-per-views that I thought were very, very good. I just don't put it in the category of like the pay-per-views that I'm gonna remember that are gonna stick out among the best in the company and stuff. It was a solid show. I yeah, I don't know. In terms of Joe and um Kingston, I think, like that's always intriguing to me because that's going to be a hard hitting match. And I feel like Kingston, there was some ring rust when he came back, for sure. And I think he's kind of slowly building his way back to what he was before the really long injury, surgery, rehab. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Yeah, certainly I don't expect for Kingston to win that. I don't know if this was a couple years ago before Kingston got hurt and how like super popular he was and how the momentum he had and stuff. It'd be fun to one of these times we need like a real true surprise champion. And I that's I guess one of the things like I don't love all the title changes that happened on the pay-per-view, but I do like that there were title changes because I don't know. We don't need to go back to the Attitude Era with belts changing hands every single night, but um we don't need everybody holding on to a belt for a year at a time either.
And we don't we and this and then if it comes down to it, it's a different situation for if they do rematches on these matches too, because now the other guy's got the belt. So it's like, you really get a good feel when you have a rematch of people of a title change, whether it's a short term or long term based on how the rematch goes a lot of times. I think that we'll see what happens. Right now, obviously, Hangman's kind of disappeared. Maybe his wife's having a baby or something. I don't know. I'm just shocked that I mean, I thought he had a really great run. Obviously, the chase with him is it. But I mean, you can't chase and then lose it, a month or 2 months later. It's like I just think that.
That was for a little over 4 months.
Okay, I will say it was much better than that first run, without a doubt. It's erased any of the bad tastes in our mouths from that first run.
Well, because it ended in a lot better fashion than the first one ended, to somebody who didn't defend it and then got it back and then didn't defend it again. And
oh yeah, I forgot that guy. Yeah,
that guy
who's wrestling tonight, by the way. Yeah, so.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's neither here nor there, but why don't we just?
Well, it's somewhere. I mean, it's in San Diego.
It's outdoors, which I'm amazed at.
Not everybody's got this snow crap. So
I know everything's white here. So
no, I mean that was when I first moved down to Corpus Christi, and like that first week I was down there was an announcement like Snoop Dogg's playing at Whataburger Field outdoors in December, and I'm like, an outdoor concert in December? What? Like everybody's like, what do you like? Yeah, it's not like that up north.
It'd probably be 100 degrees too, right? No, no, it's
probably was.
It's not always that hot, but yeah. So, I before we get to talking about, there's only like 4 matches I think on that pay-per-view tonight. I do want to mention a few things that happened this week for WWE that were interesting. Did you guys see Lesnar fall on Monday Night Raw? I laughed my head off when I saw it because it's like camera cut back right back to him rolling backwards. And it was like,
I saw the clip. It's surprising to me that stuff like that hasn't happened more with all the steep and slippery stages, and like back when WWE always had like the metal grates that every once in a while a high heel would get stuck in or something. But I mean, those are not
the pyro things that are all laying on the ground around him too.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people don't trip, to be honest. Trip, slip, whatever.
Well,
So
he was doing his bang thing with the explosion and fell down.
it was like he was doing it for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
was
I thought that was interesting because a lot of people, it just shows he's a human, and not like this, the monster that they try to portray him to be. And I think, and then they ask Heyman about it, and he goes, "Oh, that makes him even bigger than GOAT." It's like, oh, shut up, Heyman. Are you just freaking highlighting? You know what? Highlight, even if it's bad. It's the old saying about media. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad news, as long as it's being broadcast. Well, I thought it was hilarious because it was probably one of the worst Monday Night Raws I've ever seen because of just the timing of things. They had a segment end where the lights went out in the middle of it only because someone was coming out to an introduction, and it was like, is this over or are we going to something else? It was completely. I've never seen like such shoddy work for Monday Night Raw, and I hate. I think we know that they're in a creative bind right now because really there's no.
sounds like a very nice way of putting it. I'm sure they appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you, WWE. Don't sue
How
me.
much are they paying you, Cash?
Creative bind.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna use that the next time I see some WWE troll on
You
Twitter.
getting those royalty
"Eh,
checks like Booker T?
no, yeah, no, but I'm just saying that we know, it's like there's just not a lot to be excited about in their product right now. I know, and listen, I know you'll see when this house show comes to Rochester, okay, or when they have do the SmackDown in Buffalo the following week. You'll see when half the arena's empty because we're getting empty arenas, and that's more TKO charging too much than people not wanting to go. It's just people can't afford to go.
I don't know where it's at this point, but if with those ticket prices, if Rochester gets up to half full, I'd be very impressed.
Yeah, yeah. I looked at it and there's more sold, but $56 for bad seats, it's just not. It's got to be a Groupon, man. And
Well, I mean, a lot of those, like when it's a TV show, like last minute, like these companies will sneak out tickets, in efforts to fill them up,
Yeah.
seat fillers, and
Know
discounted
that.
pricing, last minute ticket deals, all that stuff. When it's a house show or a live event that's not premium or whatever televised, they don't care. Like
No,
they're not gonna lower those things the day of. So
no.
I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Well, the thing too is, and what they're not saying is who's going to be there because they've got two house shows the same day, one in Rochester and I think one in Jacksonville or something, and so you're not going to get everybody, here in town. You'll probably be lucky if they'll pick a big face to run it, one big face in a match, but it may not be Cody Rhodes. It may not be CM Punk. You never know who it's going to be right now. So that's another thing.
Yeah,
too.
and I think that's a little bit of, this is a big word to use that I don't mean it this strongly, but like it's a little bit of fan entitlement, I guess, because like thinking back to, when I was going to house shows as a kid, like there were often 3 house shows on the same day or at the same time, and then another show with the same group of people earlier in the day or later in the day. Like you didn't always get everybody, and these companies have so many wrestlers under contract that they can easily do 2 shows the same day and have plenty of quality stars and stuff. But yes, people be like, well, why did I get to see this guy? Well, you saw this guy, and this guy. So like, just be happy with that.
Yeah. How come I'm getting half of NXT here? That's, and that's,
See, that's like the type of thing. Well, back in the black and gold days, I'd be like, I would love that. I remember like when you guys had that post Saudi
Yeah,
Buffalo SmackDown with all the NXT. I was like, that's like the SmackDown I would actually want to be at.
NXT in Buffalo. Yeah. That was, I remember Ciampa, all of them wrestled their first
I know
time.
a certain commissioner of a certain league who absolutely hated it.
That's true because nobody got any points according to them. And now all those guys that were back then are now on the main rosters and everything. Just to say, but yeah, no, it's it's interesting, but it's like when you see the commercial for it, they have all the people that may not be there. So that's what I always worry about, but we'll see what happens. I mean, listen, I would,
well, it is. I mean, Cody's been on all of those photos to the point where like if somebody just shelled out $18 bajillion for a nosebleed seat and their kid is like got their American Nightmare t-shirt ready to go and stuff, and they don't get to see Cody Rhodes, then yes, that's a problem. That's, I don't know if that's a bait and switch necessarily, but it is tricky. You should only be putting people on the advertisements that, barring injury, are going to be on the show. And maybe that means you don't need to put too many people on the picture. So
you can sell the show with one or two people. If Cody Rhodes is one of them, yeah, you can sell that show with him. You know, the champ's going to be there, you know?
I mean, like I
or
we
Roman
put out
Reigns.
all the ESW like initial graphics for the January show this week, and like like we gathered a group of 5 wrestlers together to take a clerk style picture for it and stuff.
I
But
saw that, yeah.
the other graphics that I'm working on for it and stuff, like I'm getting everything prepared for it, but it's like a holding pattern to see who is booked for it. I'm not just going to put out graphics like, oh, this guy's on it. Like, they're not booked yet. So no, like, don't want to lead the fans on to something that they won't get. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you're putting out a graphic with 5 WWE people on it or whatever, like, you could probably make that decision ahead of time. Like, maybe things will slightly be subject to change. But if you know going into it, like, oh, here's this graphic, but you're gonna get Cody or Punk or whatever the case, then that's not cool.
I'm thinking because they've got that Thursday, which they have their first SmackDown in Buffalo, that maybe, I know they're doing obviously Syracuse, Rochester. There's another one too. I mean, Albany was just a couple weeks ago, but they're doing a couple shows in New York before that SmackDown. So maybe it'll be a SmackDown heavy show, which is not a bad deal, I guess. But we will find
As somebody who doesn't watch WWE, is SmackDown still the A show, or is that switched back?
I don't know right now. I'm trying to figure that. I think Raw is the A show and SmackDown is the one that everyone can watch. Well, actually, nobody. You have to have cable to watch. Well, I discussed last week on the show that there's no way to watch WWE without paying for a subscription for something. You know, in the olden days, there was ways to watch it. You know, but now there's no way to watch anything unless you have a subscription. You know, or you can find cheap places online and stuff. Which, and in fact, tonight's pay-per-view is on ESPN Plus or whatever, ESPN everything. I can't remember what they call it now.
I think they just call it ESPN, which is confusing.
Yeah.
Like they've tried to list it on graphics. I think is like ESPN and then they put the little like E logo or whatever, but it's still just called ESPN. It's not like ESPN Plus Max Super whatever, like Super Slam. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I still don't have that.
Palooza. No. We've done that already. So I do want to throw out a couple more things, and we'll talk about tonight's outdoor show in San Diego. But this past on SmackDown last night, they had they're doing this John Cena tournament. Was it called the
Last Time Is Now tournament?
Last Time Is Now tournament, and they had and someone got hurt in a tournament. I think that was Sheamus. So they had a mystery guy, and that mystery guy ended up being the Miz because he ended up switching the balls out when freaking the GM wasn't looking. He changed the paper and the ball to his name. But I think that was a big bait and switch there with WWE trying to get people to watch it, thinking, oh, who's because we've had Ziggler. We had freaking Matt Cardona, you know, and it's like, oh, who else could show up? Well, you're going to get the Miz. So, you know, someone who works for you already. But he had already lost.
I mean, if like he should be in the tournament regardless.
He lost,
not as like a surprise type situation.
I think he lost to Sheamus, you know, and that's why he thought he should get it, you know. So, and it makes sense, you know. That's what I thought too. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It was a little bit bait and switch last night, and then on Monday Night Raw, they played John Cena's music, and then one of the little people came out dressed as John Cena, one of the guys that tours around even bars in this town here that have when they have the what's the correct word? Little persons wrestling, you know, they have those groups that do bars and they end up drawing like crazy numbers. So they had a dude come out dressed up like Cena, and they actually let him cut a promo. It was the worst thing. That's why I was saying that it's just a terrible Monday Night Raw because it was a terrible promo. Had sound nothing like, you know, I mean, if he was trying to do a John Cena impression, he was nowhere near it. But
that's that seems to me like the most out of touch, lazy, booking of somebody who's been there for decades and doesn't understand current times, or the fact that you're doing that with somebody who doesn't, like, you could do impressions of some sorts with like people who have very distinct voices or gimmicks or something like that. Like John Cena just talks like a human being. Like, what, I didn't see the clip. I saw like a screenshot of it and I was like, I don't need to see this.
You
But
don't need to see it. No, you don't.
That was some Vince McMahon booking right there.
yeah,
I was wondering, is like he back in charge? It would have had farts involved in it too.
That would be a great piece of evidence that he's back.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think so. I don't not who knows. I'm not going to say anything. I think, but I do want to mention that you were talking a little bit about Brody Lee a little bit ago. Did you guys see the interview that had him talking about being the godfather of Cody Rhodes' new baby? I thought it was very interesting. He was talking about how close he is with Cody and stuff. It was, I don't know if it was really an interview or more if someone asked him something and they just wrote down what his answer was, but I thought that was very interesting. He's talking about his relationship with Cody and how Cody was there for him and stuff. So I did want to bring that up. That was definitely an interesting, because I mean, the more I see Brody, the older he looks.
it's insane.
And like his little brother looks like his dad.
He's like a month and a half away from turning 14.
Yeah.
Like how? That makes me feel so old. No, yeah, it was the entertaining part of that. Like obviously, like it's he's on Instagram now. That Amanda helps him run with at Brody Lee Jr. But he the entertaining part is that he asked Cody if he should watch The Godfather, the movie. So that, which of course, when I first read that, I was in like 2CW mode. And I was like, you don't need to go watch like the Ho Train stuff. Right? Oh, the movie, which I still haven't seen.
You've never seen The Godfather? You would love it. I think you would love it.
It's on my list to get to at some point. But the fact that he was like, well, there's a movie called that. Maybe I should watch that to like know how to be a godfather. It's like, no. I don't think you're gonna need that. But that was entertaining. That was funny.
Yeah, that definitely was interesting. And then I've seen pictures of Rhino recently, and he looks so much like his dad. Both of them do, but Rhino, kudos to Amanda keeping up with it and everything. And I love that post she did about 2030. If
telling Sean Ross Sapp if I to report that 2CW will be doing a show then. So I mean, honestly, it's been something that we have mentioned many times over the years, like doing the math and stuff. Obviously he couldn't wrestle when he made the appearance before, and shouldn't at that point. I mean, at that point he was 9.
Yeah.
But obviously he's getting some really good training on a very limited and safe environment at this point and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, he's got such a step ahead of other people in that
you see some of the people he's training with. It's like these, obviously Natty and her husband, but there's some of the people he's in the ring with too. It's like these are like TNA stars. I think some of them are. That's for
there's
sure.
TNA people, there's GCW people, there's WWE people, and then you get the random drop-ins from the John Cenas and other people there.
John,
and stuff.
Got a great picture of him and John Cena. That
Shane Stetson is there regularly. Who's
Shane was
at ESW.
Yeah, he's the one that I saw that was with him in a couple of the videos they had put up there. So, yeah, they're very cool. Kudos to the guy. We're 100% behind you. Whenever it happens, we will talk about it.
If there ever could be a moment that was like full circle and would make me feel incredibly old, it would be if at some point I call a Brody Lee Jr. wrestling match. It was crazy enough, like just the appearance and stuff. But that would be, I mean, I don't even want to do the math on how old I'd be at that point, but that's crazy.
Yeah. He's not wearing a mask anymore, right? He's Brody Lee Jr. completely now. So, which is very, very cool. And it's funny, he did kind of clarify that he's not under contract or anything. He won't be under contract till he turns 18. So,
he'll have an option at that point to have one, basically.
Yeah. Well, I would take it immediately, but that's me. So let's go to talk about the four match pay-per-view that's going on tonight in San Diego very quickly, and then we'll get some news. We've got War Games matches, men and women's, and the women's, we've got Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee versus Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the Kabuki Warriors and Becky Lynch. The men's
I didn't
team,
even Lash Legend is on the main roster.
Lash Legend, yeah,
I didn't even know that. Okay.
yeah, Lash Legend is kind of like a second to coming out and seconding Nia Jax now. So they kind of paired her up with Nia Jax. We also got, and this is the match, much like Blood and Guts from a couple weeks ago, where you start with two and then you add one, then you add another one, and you add another one. And it's like, and it usually takes about 45 minutes before everybody's in the match, which sometimes you think that seems like it's going to be god awful, take forever. But man, every single one I've seen has been fantastic, you know? So then we have obviously the men's match, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns versus the Vision, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, all with Paul Heyman. You know, this is kind of like the kickoff to WrestleMania. What's going to happen? You know, I'll talk about that maybe when we get to the news a little bit more. But WrestleMania had some original plans, and they can't be because people are hurt. So, and it kind of on Monday Night Raw, if you saw Roman Reigns kind of looking at Cody Rhodes and CM Punk's belts and him like kind of like thinking he wants to be the champion. I think that may have some sort of influence on this match because they're all on the same team. You know, we'll see. I don't know. We got John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. This is John Cena's second to last match. His very last match will be obviously December 13th, Saturday Night Main Event. But this is, you know, and so does John drop the title back or did we wait until the 13th? I guess we find out then. And we got Stephanie Vaquer versus versus Nikki Bella. Yeah, just kind of throwing that one in. Nikki Bella obviously turned.
Who asked for that?
I don't know. Nikki Bella.
I don't think not Stephanie Vaquer.
Yeah, I don't think she did because she's a champ, and it's like, but you know, I don't know. She's kind of like you know, it's like they always have these rising stars, and she definitely was one of them. There's been a few others that, like, what happened to Tiffany Stratton? She's been AWOL since she dropped the belt. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of people that, you know, had so much potential and we're going to get pushed to the moon. And now I don't see any of them ladies around, you know, as much as Stephanie, obviously. So kudos to that. So it's 4 matches. It's going to be outdoors in San Diego. The weather's going to be good, I hear. I don't know, but that's on tonight. So that's going to be so, you know, you want to watch that. It's going to be on ESPN thing or whatever they call it. The ESPN, you know, I get it through Disney Plus. So you go to Disney Plus and then it gives you an ESPN option. And that's how I get to that site, you know? But there's other ways to get it. I guess you probably can steal it someplace or I don't know. Or it's probably on pay-per-view too for like $49. So
I'm not even going to waste time trying to steal it.
I was going to say, there's nothing that's coming out of this that is going to be groundbreaking, except for maybe if it's the kickoff to WrestleMania. And
the one men's team is 80% identical to last year.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Swap out CM Punk for Sami Zayn, right?
Yeah. That's when they interesting. I was gonna say CM Punk, didn't he do it as a favor for Roman Reigns last year? Wasn't that what it was? He like Paul Heyman owed him a favor after he came and like was part of their group or whatever. Because I think Sami Zayn was 2 years ago. I think was it or
that's even more telling if it's the same exact lineup for the last 3 years now.
You got to put the biggest stars in your company on it. So, you know, Rob, what'd you think of? Speaking of, what'd you think of Blood and Guts? Did we talk about this already? I think we did. Maybe we did. I think
we did. I think we did. Yeah. But the one thing I'll say is when you say Blood and Guts, it makes me think of the women's match, and then it makes me think of the people in that, and then it makes me think of why are the 2 actual previously established women's tag teams out of this tag title tournament already in Taiji and now the Sisters of Sin being out. Like these are teams that were actually teams before this tournament and they're gone. And that to me is just you could have waited another round to bounce out like Julia and Sky or something. But
well, I think they want to put it on Toni Storm. If she's not going for get her title back, she's doing. I think you got to do something to keep her. I think that
Well, and at least like they've had an association, so that's fine. And I mean, nothing against like Megan and Marina have this chemistry like that they've put together and stuff. I just don't. I don't know. I don't need them to be the first champions. It would have been cool for the first champions to be a team that's been like Ty and Anna aren't the most talented of all of the teams in the tournament, if you were to rank them, but they've been teaming for like 5 years or whatever. Like for them to be like the first team eliminated was just kind of weird. So I don't know. And like everybody loves Willow, Harley's super popular, but like I don't need them to be past this round.
Yeah, but they've got matching clothes, man. They're the only ones I think with matching tights. That's why I think
they still don't feel like a tag team to me.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna jump some news and we're gonna get out of here if my voice holds up. We've got former WWE wrestler Ridge Holland announced on social media he underwent neck surgery on Monday. Announced that through social media he had disc replacement surgery. He had a pair of collapsed discs and nerve impingement, and he was hurt during the TNA when they I don't know, invaded TNA, and then he got released after that, or he got future endeavored, and
when he had to do a TNA appearance and didn't get paid any extra for it. Yep.
And then got hurt from it. Yeah.
Yep.
And then but WWE did pay for the surgery, so they did. I mean, they
would have had to have one way or another.
Yeah, yeah.
That's an automatic lawsuit if they didn't.
Yeah, and so hopefully Ridge Holland, comes back, or Luke Menzies, whatever his real name is, I believe. Congratulations goes out to WWE and NXT power couple. Lash Legend Trick Williams got engaged this week. Kudos to them there. So that's why Lash Legend is amazing that Lash Legend's on SmackDown and Trick Williams is still TNA champion. So, but on NXT. So interesting. I kind of assume
not TNA champion.
Yeah, he's TNA heavyweight champion.
What? No, TNA champ. Unless it changed again. The TNA, they had Santana.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not him. Yeah, you're right. He was TNA champion. Sorry, yeah. He tagged with Santana this past week on Impact. I'm sorry. I was thinking about. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. A couple weeks ago, we talked on the show about how I was. I watched a couple nights in a row of TNA, kind of like getting caught up on a lot of the people that I'd be calling at both those shows last weekend. And then they do that title change and immediately take it off of Santana and stuff. And I'm just like, all right, I'm right back to like, this was like me giving TNA yet another chance. Because again, obviously I really like a lot of that roster.
Yeah.
But we're right back to me, like only needing to look up, like if Bill Collier has a match or this and that, like individual things here and there. I'm not going to regularly watch, at this point when they're right back to just terrible booking.
Yeah, actually, I meant to say former TNA champ, but he's Trick Williams actually tagged with Santana, like I said, on this past week's Impact show. And it's very interesting that he's still doing stuff down there. But I have a feeling. I was going to say at the end of that, I have a feeling that the purchase of TNA is probably imminent right now by WWE if it hasn't happened already. Just because of how many people there are handing over to Impact every week.
I guess from a business perspective, I question, like, do they need to? Like, if this was a decade plus ago where they're trying to like build a WWE Network library, like, of course they want that library for sure. And still would. But I like right now, I feel like they can use TNA for whatever they want and not have to spend any money. And TKO is all about only generating money at this point. So I guess like, what would WWE really get enough out of owning it to buy it at this point? Maybe, I don't know.
They're buying the wrestlers. I mean, Joe Henry signed with WWE, so even though he's still showing up on TNA. In fact, him and Jeff Hardy do this concert on this week's show. So I don't.
I just feel like they right now they're in a spot where they can just use TNA. So what's the point in paying money for it if you're already getting everything out of it that you want for nothing? I don't know.
So many of the WWE stars have so much of their library in TNA that I'm guessing it wouldn't hurt them, you know. I mean, like AJ Styles and
I
there's
just think
got
like I mean now, well, granted, I mean they're making money off the ads on YouTube, but it's just a weird situation now where um, I don't know where the all the libraries exist at this point is just different than I miss being able to open. I know I was against. I wasn't downloading the WWE app originally when it first came out, and then they got the libraries and network, and then like it was nice to be able to go into the network and sort through and find anything to watch
yeah,
that you
yeah.
wanted. And now it's like I don't know, like if I want to go back and watch Raw from June 5th of 2000 in Rochester, like do I have an option to right now? I don't think so.
I delete
Um,
yeah, I deleted the app recently off my phone. It's like there's no reason I should still have this on here, you know, because it just posts news now. I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's
Now I think they just randomly like I see like uploads. It's like, oh, here's I think yesterday there's a notification of like this year or last year. I think it was this year's like WrestleMania now on YouTube or whatever. It's like, yeah, but what if I like have to subscribe to 18 million things? Like, could I have not watched that before? I think you could have, but I think a lot of the TV stuff is like missing now since they bounced around from the network to Peacock to ESPN and stuff. Like a lot of stuff is just in limbo right now.
yeah, and they had never even moved it all over the Peacock when they went to Peacock. So there, I mean, we lost a lot when that happened. They have it someplace. It's still someplace. So they, I mean, they spent a lot of money, a lot of hours of people doing work, digitizing all that stuff and taking out the F out of everything. So, you
Let's
know,
just hope for the people of this world, current and future, that there's not a situation where there's like an app where somebody has to go in and edit something like a change in WWF to WWE logo. I hope there's nothing from the current era where people are going to have to go back and watch it closely
oh
and
boy,
do any kind of editing because I would not want that job to have to go
no,
back and watch current WWE.
no, no. So let me move on to some other news. Uh, they show I posted a photo, you might have seen it in the news, of Becky Lynch on Star Trek Starfleet Academy. She's which was unveiled on Collider.com this week. It's Lynch plays a role of a Starfleet officer. The series premieres January 15th, 2026 on Paramount Plus, the Star Trek network.
I didn't
So
even know. Okay, so it's a new. I've never seen Star Trek, but like I didn't know that they were still like making content. But
yeah, oh, there always will be. They'll have another series, you know. They'll do one like 2000 years in the future someday, you know, because they haven't done that yet. But
all
they've
I know
done
is I found out last night that same Paramount Plus a week later is coming out with Canada Shore, and I am pumped.
Canada
That is
Shore.
right up my alley of
They're
guilty television.
like Jersey Shore, but in Canada.
Yes. Yes. Up in I think it's in Kelowna that they're
Hey,
doing it, which
hey.
is like up in BC. I am so ready for this January 22nd. So let's go. Thank you, Paramount Plus.
Okay. AAA Lucha Libre Worldwide is coming to Fox on Tuesday morning. WWE issued a press release to officially announce a new media rights deal with Fox for their newly acquired AAA Lucha Libre Worldwide promotion based in Mexico. The deal calls for AAA main events, including premium live events, to air on Fox in Mexico as well as across Central America, South America, excluding Brazil. I don't know what Brazil did to get excluded, but they did. I did mention that tonight's Survivor Series might be the kickoff to WrestleMania. It may have something to do with Reigns. Originally, Reigns was supposed to take on Seth Rollins. It was rumored. And of course, Rollins being injured, he should be back by then, but it will be too late to build up the story between them, especially as a champ. So we'll see what happens tonight if you're watching that. AEW's Roosh has been officially taken out of action. The update came straight from Tony Khan, who revealed on social media that Roosh is not medically cleared after suffering a knee injury. Man, that's another injury Roosh has had. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Because of that setback, the multi-time champ had been pulled from his scheduled Ring of Honor World Championship match against Bandito at ROH Final Battle on December 5th. That previously announced title is now off the table. ROH is moving in a different direction from the pay-per-view. Khan confirmed that Bandito will instead enter a survival of the fittest match featuring Sammy Guevara, Commander Enchero, Blake Christian, and the Beast Mortos.
That's going to be a fantastic match.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Roosh, meanwhile, still technically holds gold. He remains one half of the ROH tag.
Nope, not anymore.
Nope.
Oh no, that changed.
No,
Yep.
and now it's going to be Sammy and Mortos, getting a chance to win again against, I don't remember who they're facing.
Let's
But
see.
they're in a tag title match for I think technically the belts are vacant right now. Very similar to what happened with Sammy and Dustin. And now Sammy again has, maybe you don't want to be a partner of Sammy because you get injured. I don't know.
Oh man, well, Sammy has been excluded to Ring of Honor, anyways, right? I think.
I mean, I think he's still the only person that I've called both hockey and wrestling with, and I have an injury right now. Is this Sammy Guevara's fault?
Damn you, Sammy.
Sammy.
All right. AEW has officially added another name to its women's roster. It's someone who has already turned heads behind the scenes. It's also a face WWE fans will be familiar with. Lacey Lane, who has been making waves recently, is signed with AEW. According to sources, Lane earned the deal after her recent TBS championship match with Mercedes Moné, where she reportedly made a strong impression internally with her work. The deal has been confirmed by multiple sources. Lacey Lane played basketball for MCC. And the reason I know that is because it says that on Lacey Lane's Wikipedia site. It may not be true. I actually emailed Lacey Lane to ask if
I looked that up one day. It is true. I think it was just one season. But yes.
Okay. See, yeah. I emailed Lacey and never got her anything back. So, yeah. So, well, kudos. Someone local here to Rochester now having another person. You know, on Collision this past week, we had Dalton Castle from Rochester. We had Danny Garcia from Buffalo. All these, and then I mean, all these local area guys are all over TV. And by the way, Dalton Castle is gold, man. I cannot wait to see. He's starting to explode a little bit on Collision. I love it. You know, I thought, it was kind of fun.
Please let them take the trios titles off the ops.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, let anybody take it off the ops because the ops have other priorities right now. But yes, I would be so in favor. I mean, honestly, like I would be in favor of that big time if it were either Dalton or the Outrunners, but those guys together, yes, 100% yes.
Yeah. I enjoyed this past week's Collision. It was on Thanksgiving night. Everyone got to see Dalton, see his old camp friend who was sitting out in the crowd, which
his third best friend.
His third best friend, yes, but he wanted to go up and say hi to him. Apparently, was he the country music star who was out there? Is that who he was talking about? Okay, I didn't really know what he was talking about because they were all talking at the same time. So, kudos to him. Unfortunately,
he taught him everything he knows about Boondoggle.
He taught him everything he knew about Boondoggle.
Apparently,
so
I don't know much about it.
No. An unfortunate scene played out on Monday when a tournament bout between Penta and Solo Sikoa was cut short after a scary landing by Penta. The incident occurred just a few minutes into the match. Penta went for a Hurricane Rana, came down awkwardly, and was immediately compromised. After several moments of evaluation, the referee waved off and awarded the match to Sikoa, who was supposed to win anyways, who now moves forward in the last time is now tournament. He'll meet Gunther in the next round. But what happened was Penta dislocated his shoulder or and he just wanted them to put it back into place because he wanted to finish the match, but they wouldn't do it. He was trying to get them to put it back in place, and
so your only option for that is to put it back in place yourself, like Rhea did and other people have done.
Yeah, that's gross when that happens, but yeah, he didn't do it. They stopped the match and took him in the back, so it was unfortunate, but Penta is going to be out for a while. I don't know what kind of damage can happen from a dislocated, shoulder blade, but yeah, it was kind of weird because he landed hard on the boundary on the wall there between them and the fans, and freaking it must have just popped it right out of. Yuck. But yeah, so we hope Penta. He says he's going to be back soon, but I don't know how dangerous that is. I mean, because there's so many things inside there that can mess up. I hope it doesn't, because this guy's getting like pushed to the moon, so I hope it's not like anything that's going to deter that. But yeah, we send our best out to him. And someone else who's dealing with some stuff, TNA Hall of Fame legend and former WWE superstar Raven came out this week and talked about how he's dealing with Parkinson's disease. It was an interesting interview. You can check it out. Wrestling Life is the podcast. Check it out. But he's talked about how he has like tics and stuff, and that kind of, he thought it was due to medication he was taking for sleeping, and they stopped that medication and it went away, but it came back. So but we sent our best out to Scotty there, Raven. Hopefully that's
Johnny Polo.
Johnny Polo, all sorts of guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I did not know that until I read that. So if you're gonna watch Monday Night Raw this week, you can see AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus the New Day for the World Tag Team titles. Gunther versus Solo Sikoa, the Last Time Is Now tournament semifinal. Jey Uso versus LA Knight, and the Last Time Is Now tournament semifinal. Survivor Series War Game Fallout, and I believe both those Last Time Is Now tournament matches are going. The finals are going to be on SmackDown, and then I can't remember what the finals actually. Thought I heard the finals were going to be on this next week's SmackDown, and then obviously the last match is going to be on Saturday night's main event on Peacock. And that is about all the news I've got.
A couple wild claims out there from some old schoolers in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you talked previously. I don't think we need to talk about Bret Hart's claim about Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon that's out there, but the one that I just heard last night about Ric Flair's claim about Hulk Hogan's death.
Yeah, I believe it though. He said that what Ric Flair was telling somebody, or he told a podcast, was that Hulk Hogan, they would not give him more painkillers, so he had to go find some himself, or had someone find. I believe that though. I mean,
in the current state of American healthcare, I believe it. Yeah,
I believe that, and unfortunately, he didn't say that led to exactly to his death, because he died from a heart attack, I believe. But
I think it was implied that that was the cause, and said something along the lines of more is probably coming out with that in the next month. So that'll be interesting if that was the case for Hogan. I don't know.
Yeah, that I thought that and also Bret Hart saying that Shawn Michaels couldn't get above him in the company, so he started a relationship with Vince McMahon. There's all been rumors about that for years anyways.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are saying, Bret's ruining his career by, and I mean, his career is over, but he's ruining,
Bill Goldberg ruined his career.
Yeah. He ended his
not Bret, not Vince, not Goldberg, but Bill Goldberg ruined his career.
Yeah, but they said that he is ruining his legacy by bringing stuff like that up. Maybe, I mean, it's
the best with the apparent. I didn't hear the Flair clip, but the transcription and the quotes I read and stuff. Apparently, Flair may have said something like, it's not my place to speak about it or whatever. It's like, you just told the world that Hulk Hogan died from street drugs, but it's not your place to talk about it. We only know this rumor because of you, Ric Flair. I don't think you're able to say that it's not your place to talk about it anymore and claim that when you're nobody was thinking this before you said it. So
he did come out later and say, I'm getting a lot of run about this, and I just want to open up a little bit more about it. And he did, the thing he wanted to say was that that he had talked to Hogan the day before he passed, or very close to the time he passed, and Hogan was telling him stuff like that, how he's in constant pain from his surgeries. He had bone infection in his neck from a neck surgery. It was just, you saw what Hogan looked like in the last year of his life. I mean, when he was touring, it was just, less than a year ago, he was here in Rochester promoting this beer, but you could see even months after that, his face got very skeletal looking, and he obviously, he couldn't work. I didn't even want to bring up that his son wants to get into wrestling now, but I think it's, who cares? His son runs out of things. That's what every kid who parent was a huge wrestler wants. They don't want to wrestle, but when they run out of every option in their life to do, wrestling will of course welcome them, because they have this name, and it's I hate to say that, but it's that's what happens, unfortunately, with his son, who I don't know, crippled somebody, in a car accident, amongst other things, but there's been a lot of podcast things going around. Ric Flair did come out after, because I read that and it's wow. it's it's not his place to say that, but he said it. So and it's like, well, like you said, there probably more coming out in the future. But there's been some interesting things lately. I mean, I think so. I saw some people commenting on just what Bret Hart had said and said, he really should just. He's going and doing these tours right now, where he's just talking to the crowd for like an hour or two in interviews and stuff.
Old man yells at cloud.
Yeah, something like that. He's like, but I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Bret. I think he was, but I think that he thinks he was bigger than what he was. I always feel that way. And I'm not saying he wasn't a big deal. He was the WWF champion for a long time.
But he wasn't even the best wrestler in his own family, so.
No, that's true. That's true.
That's true, but he was still a really good wrestler.
He was.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't mean, I don't know. I pretty much give him credit for me starting to watch wrestling. Obviously I was an Owen fan against him, but also a Bret fan. But yeah, it's I don't know. There's some crazy stuff out there. So I think he's just at the point where he just doesn't care anymore. And it's just I don't know. Some of the stuff, I mean, some of the interviews and stuff are entertaining, but it is interesting how
remember he was mad because he didn't have a seat for the Saturday night's main event. They asked him to come, and then they didn't have a seat for him to get shown on TV, and so he got mad.
And I back him on that, man.
Yeah.
If I got to travel all the way to New Jersey, if I got to go to New Jersey in any circumstance, and you don't have a seat for me for the show that you want me to be at, I take Bret's side on that.
I do, especially if they paid him to come and everything. It's like
if they did, I don't know.
I'm guessing they did. I mean, they had Stephanie McMahon in the crowd, and she always gets. I mean, heck, she was in the
future
crowd.
Hall of Famer, Stephanie.
Yeah, whatever. I just cringe now because she was in the crowd. What was it? And her brother was there for John Cena's last match, and they didn't show Shane at all, but they showed Stephanie.
The only thing with that is I feel like they're very well could have been like Shane was in the stands with a beer and stuff. Like
he was Shane, in the back. He was on the floor, but he was in the back of the floor. He was not. Yeah.
I assume people knew that he was there. We don't know that for sure, but like he very well may not have wanted to be on camera. I mean, if that's the case, then there probably wouldn't be a photo going up either, whatever. But he just wanted to see, Cena's thing, and I respect that. So if he didn't want the camera on him, then respect him for that too. So
I'll leave it on everybody on this note. I think there's been heavy rumors Vince McMahon's going to be at John Cena's last match. We will see. We're less than 2 weeks from that. In fact, 2 weeks from today, in fact. So we will see, but I certainly hope
I could see him being in a box and being spotted, but I don't think it would be anything past that. But I don't know. Hopefully his family's good friend in DC doesn't show up either. Not this DC, but the one that lives in a house under remodel.
I make a firm commitment to not be there.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody who's in the chat room. And we didn't get a lot of chat going on, but people were there. We will see you next week. Same bat time. Same bat channel. See